All right. So here's my circuitry. I definitely ended up being a little bit more ambitious of a project than I understood in the beginning. So a lot of wires there, and then you'll see I have quite a bit of code as well. And luckily, I am in a programming class as well currently, and I have some experience in programming, so that part I was at least a little bit more prepared for. The actual circuitry portion was more challenging, I would say. And then we'll just go through the code really quick. So initialized at step 0. The step 0 is just activating the piezo sensor, or essentially step 0 is just the sensor is reading because the design is in standby until that picks up a certain level of vibration above the threshold that is set. And then once it picks up that vibration and jumps to step 1, I can't figure out how to, in Tinkercad, how to apply vibration to the piezo. So I will just kind of have to show you by hard coding the initializing step into the code here. But step 1, just measuring the distance with the ultrasonic distance sensor, and then deciding on what to do based on how far it is. So here we're converting that distance to, or that time that the sensor takes to bounce back to itself, converting that to centimeters with this equation. And then seeing here if the cart is close, then we're stopping the motors. Otherwise, if it is too far, we're driving forward until we're close. Step 2, if it's close, we're turning to the right because we want the design to be positioned with the cart behind it. The tow arms are on the back, so we want it to position itself with the back facing the cart. Step 3 here, pulse the back sensor, make sure we're at a good distance there. Kind of the same drill, just drive backwards if we're too far, drive forwards if we're too close, stop when within range. Step 4 here is moving the tow arms. So pretty straightforward there. Just enable the motor, delay, because it just takes about half a second, and stop the engines or the motors. And then step 5 is just towing to the designated tow area. And step 6 will just be returning. So that is assuming that we're using kind of predetermined routes to and from the standby station and the station where it's towing the carts to. I had other ideas that just didn't really end up being very practical. And then at the very end here, we're resetting the step number back to 0, put us back into standby. And the step start is just the timer, essentially, that's being used for the route because the route is based on timing, given that we know how fast the device is moving. So for practicality's sake, I'm just going to initialize this to 2. I'll show you really quick. 2, so remember we're measuring with that front sensor. So has us turning to the right currently. And as we get too close, has us turning now back to the left. So that is imperfect. Ideally, it would either be turning right or not moving. So it looks like there are some imperfections in either my wiring or my code here. Let's see. Oops. Let's jump to step 4 here. Initializing the tow arms. And I think I might have missed my little window here. You might have seen briefly that tow motor start and then stop. Try it again. So starting, and then again, it just takes, I guess that 5,000 microseconds would be 5 seconds. So that's why we're getting a little bit more of a window there, but got that 5-second window for the tow motor to operate. And then step fives, and step six, we're just again moving on that predetermined route. So tow motor stationary, and then at the end of step five here, let's see. The very end of step five, once we have reached our destination, then the tow motors should be triggered once again to drop the cart. And then step six will just be again taking that same course back plus another 5 feet to essentially get it back to where it started. Again, a little bit more ambitious than I was maybe anticipating. Not without a couple of flaws here and there. But I certainly have learned a lot about coding and about circuitry in the meantime. So thank you. I hope that suffices. I hope everything was pretty clear. And I appreciate it. Thanks.